Hey, Neil, it's Michael Goldman.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for making time for this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I did want to talk to you about the movie, and I thought to start, maybe you could just give me a little bit of background on the how and the why. First of all, you decided to make this a documentary at all, and second of all, why you decided to have yourself direct the piece, make the movie, rather than going the route of like the Rolling Stones, finding a great filmmaker or somebody like that to do it.
Well, the whole subject matter of it was pretty personal, and I had an opportunity in doing the videos. I met Mike Saray, and I saw all his footage, and he called me when Living with War album came out, and they wanted to do a special thing on MSNBC, a half-hour special on the album and the war in Iraq. And then I saw some of his footage, and I did say, I really don't want to do a television show on this album. I'm really not looking for a way to promote the album. I think it would be really in poor taste to promote it or to try to put something together you get publicity for it. Just let it speak for itself. So, because it wasn't made to be a commercial album, really. It was made to be a statement of sorts. And so it's kind of distasteful to promote something when you're singing about the subject matter that was there. But in the long run, I saw his footage, and I wanted to make videos of every song in this and make a DVD of all the songs and the videos. And so we ended up making all these videos and putting them on the website, and I used all of his footage and a lot of stock footage and everything. And then I was doing that, and then I decided, well, who can I go out and play with and do these songs? And I had made a plan to do a CSNY tour even before I started recording the Living with War album. So that was still sitting there. I'd made this commitment to do the tour. So then I played them the album. I said, listen, let's go in this direction. And then as I was doing that, I was finishing the videos. And when I was talking to Mike Saray, I said, Mike, why don't you come with us? And just, all these guys that have been over there, and all these women that have been over there, fighting for us and fighting for the country and carrying out the president's orders and doing this thing. And why don't we have them come and see what they think about our music and what we're singing about? Because we're going to be singing about what they're doing, and we're singing about the predicament that they're in following these orders. And let's see what they say. I think that'd be an interesting film. And so it never really ever was intended to be anything other than a documentary about the reaction of the country to the music. So we filmed, of course, we shoot every night, and we put it up on the screen, so we had a lot of footage we could use. And a couple of nights we shot with a few more cameras. So we just started putting it all together, but that's how it happened. I saw it as a final thing that I could do to wrap up the Living with War project, and so when the film comes out, it'll be kind of telling a story of a point in history where the country was at a turning point with regards to supporting the administration on the war. And I think that we're very supportive of the troops in our position. And the songs we sing, I think, are sympathetic to the troops and not necessarily sympathetic to the administration. But, it's just our way we feel. But we didn't think that the way we feel is the way everybody else should feel. We just wanted to get it out there. This is how we feel. And the guys supported me on these songs, and we used a lot of their older songs to kind of offset it with giving ourselves a place in history and a reference point. So we did that, and then we recorded the reaction of the people around the country. And we tried to get as much reaction, pro and con, in every way that we could. We collected all the reviews, made a chart of all the reviews so we could see we got about maybe 2 to 1 positive reviews. We got a couple of hundred positive and about 100 negative, and so we chose the best reviews and the worst reviews and put them up against each other in the film and tried to give them equal opportunity. And in that way, we actually skewed. We used relatively a few more bad reviews than we were actually getting, but they were all real reviews. Everything was real. And we just tried to find people in the audience, interview people in the audience, and tried to find people who had, the whole thing, not just people supporting our point of view, but the whole thing about Living with War on the record that I made a couple of years ago, starting this thing, was to spur a debate, to get people talking about it, because it had become so unpatriotic to even question anything that was going on, and that was kind of the status quo, and we wanted to play our part in breaking that.
during the course of that whole thing, was it intentional in terms of the story, or did it sort of just evolve that way that you also were able to sort of give an indication of the story of the history of the band, sort of bookended between Vietnam and Iraq, needing to do this to be protesting, and sort of I got out of it that you guys yourselves can't keep doing it forever, and other people had better start picking up the torch and all that.
Well, if they want to, this is us. This is what we do, and maybe that further into history, I'm an optimist. Maybe we won't have to. Maybe we'll evolve to a point where we don't have to. But we have to get out of this mess first. And then I think, who knows? We didn't learn after Vietnam, but that doesn't mean we can't learn after this one. And, all we need is the right people running the country that feel that way to, basically give peace a chance, like Lenin said. So, and it's very idealistic, and there's all kinds of opinions on both sides about what we're doing and whether it's right or wrong. And we tried to give the people who have strong convictions that we are doing the right thing over there, and that America should be having a preeminent war against a regime like Saddam's. And it's hard to say in a post 9/11 world exactly how to act. But we found out that what we did certainly didn't garner much sympathy around the world for us. And I really wanted to stimulate the discussion and let the chips fall where they may. And, my only regret in the whole thing is that there was a tour that was out there about the same time as ours that was a kind of a patriotic American celebration kind of a tour that was, I thought our tour was patriotic also, but I think that we could have really benefited from filming that. They had Toby Keith, and they had some other artists that were pro-administration artists that were basically on the other side of the fence from us on this subject, and we were not allowed to go in there with our cameras and film that so we could use it and juxtapose it against this. So what we ended up with was we used everything else that we could find that represented that opinion. So I wish we had had a little more of a level-headed voice on that side, to someone who really made sense and wasn't just purely emotional. But we couldn't find it. We couldn't find enough of it, and we were not allowed to go into where it was really happening. I would have loved to have gotten into the Young Republicans and found out what the kids were saying, what the Young Republican, the 25-year-olds, I would have loved to have gotten their opinions about what we were doing in the other side of, representing the other side of the discussion. But we couldn't get that, so we used what we had. We used what we came around with naturally, and we didn't try to skew it one way or another. We tried to give an equal balance to it, so that at the end of the day, you'd have this feeling about what we're doing and how many different opinions there are about it in the country. Just to start a discussion on the way home in the car about what we're doing.
Of course, once you decided to do this, as a filmmaker, it then creates, all these technical and logistical issues about putting a crew together and what kind of cameras and how you're going to edit it and, all that stuff. I know you've done film work before, and you made Greendale into a movie and all that stuff. What was this filmmaking experience like? How involved did you get in?
Well, I was very involved in the structure of it and very involved in the editing. And initially, the shooting, my concept for the shooting was that I directed Mike Saray to go out there, and I said, I want you to give me 10 or 15 different stories, short subjects, like TV episodes of your covering of this tour and the people, and just give them to me, and I will decide how to use them. So I did them, and I got those, and I took them and put them in the order I wanted them in, and decided what songs we wanted to use. I picked all the music and the tunes and the performances, and then kind of put it together. But I had a lot of help from Mike, because he constructed a lot of these vignettes, the episodes, and then in some cases I edited the episodes heavily. In other cases I left them alone, and deciding what order they were in and how to juxtapose the music to them, and what to use and what not to use, that's really the MO that we had on this.
And so when Stephen Stills is out campaigning and you're following one of the veterans around, was that Mike sending a crew out there, or how did that
Well, we knew that Stephen was doing that, so we made sure that Mike covered it. And Mike was all over it. We told him everything. I said, listen, I want you to shoot everything. everything. That I want you to find the people who don't like what we're doing and give them a voice. Get out there, and ambush them, catch them when they're leaving the venue.
And did they shoot with HD cameras, or how did all that work?
Yeah, it's HD.
And how did this experience compare to, the sort of making Greendale, which was a structured stage piece that you then put on film?
Oh, it's a completely different structure.
The editing, were you able to see dailies and rushes while you're on the road, or did
No, I didn't do any of that. We didn't do anything until we got home. Well, actually, it's not true, because we saw a couple of Mike's episodes, and I put them on the website while we were on the road, and we used parts of them in the film. And we just wanted to give people an idea that we were filming it, and that there was going to be more to come. So we used a little bit of it on the websites, and we cut that up and used a little of it in the film. But we had many episodes that weren't on the website. And, we just put it together in a way that it told the story of the tour and the country's reaction to the tour, and that was our purpose. And our purpose was to try to give everybody an equal voice and to represent what really happened. And that's why we were careful to capture all of the reviews. Then we had the reviews read, and we did what we could with it.
Was there a particular structure for, the look or the palette of the film? Was there a digital intermediate done? Did you spend much time?
We did a lot of color things with it. We did some reframing on the footage. We did, but since it's HD, so we had a lot to work with. We tweaked it here and there. At one point, we were going to have all of the interviews be real solid video look, and then put a little film look on the performances. But we abandoned that halfway through. We had some TV-like graphics on the interviews, and we took those out. We did a lot of stuff that we tried, and then we just dumped it because we thought it was really strong, and we didn't want to be kitschy with it.
And because I'm curious, I'm not sure how interested you are in being a filmmaker beyond, something that's real personal to you, much like your music, but in terms of how this digital technology has made it easier or changed things, much like it has in the music world, I'm just curious your thoughts on...
Well, it's lean and mean, and it gets you to get content. Mm-hmm. So, and it's pretty good. I like film myself, but for this project, it worked real well to use the HD. Mm-hmm. I personally enjoy shooting film, and if the film we're doing now, or the picture we're doing now, is also it's a blend of formats, but it's mostly HD. The next picture, so and as is the picture after that, we're working on 2 other ones right now. So one of them has nothing to do with music and everything to do with transportation and fuel, and the other one is a music one. So
do you foresee yourself doing a lot more filmmaking?
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy doing it.
How does the process compare to, making a record and stuff like that?
That's gratifying. It's new. Hey, I'm 62 years old. The fact that I'm doing something new is gratifying, and I like it.
Yeah, I wish you a lot of luck with
All right, thanks a lot.
That to do it.
Well, the whole subject matter of it was pretty personal, and I had an opportunity. And doing the videos, I met Mike Surrey, and I saw all his footage. And he called me when Living with War album came out, and they wanted to do a special thing on MSNBC, a half-hour special on the album and the war in Iraq. And then I saw some of his footage. I go out and play with and do these songs. And I had made a plan to do a CSNY tour even before I started recording the Living with War album. So that was still sitting there. I'd made this commitment to do the tour. So then I played them the album. I said, listen, let's go in this direction. And then as I was doing that, I was finishing the videos. And when I was talking to Mike Surrey, I said, Mike.
Hey, Neil, it's Michael Goldman.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for making time for this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I did want to talk to you about the movie, and I thought to start, maybe you could just give me a little bit of background on the how and the why. First of all, you decided to make this a documentary at all, and second of all, why you decided to have yourself direct the piece, make the movie, rather than going the route of like the Rolling Stones, finding a great filmmaker or somebody like that.
I did say I really don't want to do a television show on this album. I'm really not looking for a way to promote the album. I think it would be really in poor taste to promote it or to try to put something together you get publicity for it. Just let it speak for itself. So, because it wasn't made to be a commercial album, really. It was made to be a statement of sorts. And And so it's kind of distasteful to promote something when you're singing about the subject matter that was there. But in the long run, I saw his footage, and I wanted to make videos of every song in this and make a DVD of all the songs and the videos. And so we ended up making all these videos and putting them on the website, and I used all of his footage and a lot of stock footage and everything. And then I was doing that, and then I decided, well, who can